Look at yourself closely. How many times have you felt like a toy in the hands of others? Chasing after those who don't want you, waiting for answers that never come. Feeling invisible in a world that only values the unattainable. The truth is harsh, but you need to hear it. You've been taught to need, to seek approval, to believe that without external validation, you are nothing. And the worst part is that every time you surrender your peace to someone else's opinion, you become weaker, more manipulable, more predictable. Those who rule the world are not the ones begging for love. They are the ones who know how to leave without looking back. They are not the ones seeking to be understood, but those who let their evolution speak for itself. They are not the ones who explain, beg, or chase, but those who know how to disappear when necessary. Emotional detachment and mental shielding are not an option. They are a requirement if you want respect, control, and freedom. We're not here to sugarcoat your ears. We're here to tell you how to become unattainable. In this video, we will give you 9 Stoic lessons that will completely change the way you perceive yourself and how the world treats you. 9 principles that, if applied, will ensure you never be the same again. If you're ready to stop being a puppet and start controlling your own story, stay until the end, because after this, you will be untouchable. 1. Cut the leash and stop chasing after those who don't want you. Look around you. How many times have you seen someone demean themselves for the attention of another person? Maybe you've done it yourself. Sending that last message, waiting for a response that never comes, justifying someone's indifference with excuses like, maybe they're busy, or they probably didn't see it. How long are you going to keep fooling yourself? It's time to accept the truth. When someone values you, they show it. When they don't, they show that too. But the most tragic thing is not the rejection itself, but your inability to accept it and let go. You cling as if your life depends on it, as if your worth is in the hands of that person. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a partner, or even someone with whom you've barely exchanged words. You've been trained to believe that without the validation of others, you are nothing. That's the real trap. The Stoics understood something that most ignore. The only thing you can control is yourself. You can't force anyone to love you. You can't make someone value you, choose you, or prioritize you. But you can choose not to waste another second with those who don't. Epictetus said that the truly free man is the one who depends on nothing and no one to be happy. So ask yourself, are you free or are you a slave to the validation of others? If you keep chasing after those who don't want you, the answer is clear. Every time you insist where you're not welcome, you demean yourself. Every time you stay where you're not valued, you're choosing to be miserable. Every time you send a message hoping to be seen, you hand your dignity over to someone who, quite frankly, isn't even thinking about you. It doesn't matter if you're good, if you have genuine intentions, or if you think what you feel is special. If the other person doesn't care, everything else is irrelevant. But here's the most ironic part. When you get tired of begging and disappear, suddenly they start to notice you. Why? Because absence weighs more than presence. Because interest fades when it's too accessible and multiplies when it's scarce. It's a basic principle of human psychology. And if you don't understand it, you'll keep going in the same cycle over and over again, seeking validation, begging for attention, clinging to people who've already left you behind. But that changes today. Today, you stop being the one who chases and become the one who chooses. And the key is understanding this. True respect is not begged for, it's demanded. Look at the most admired men and women in history. Do you think they spent their time begging to be accepted? Do you think Alexander the Great, Marcus Aurelius, or Napoleon sent double messages waiting for a response? No, they commanded their presence by how they lived, not by how much they insisted. They didn't chase after anyone because they knew that what's truly valuable isn't pursued, it's attracted. So if someone wants to leave your life, hold the door for them and keep walking. If someone doesn't respond to you, assume that silence is already a response. If someone doesn't value you, let it be their loss, not your punishment. Because the one who truly respects himself doesn't chase after anyone. He doesn't try to convince, he doesn't beg, he doesn't plead. And when he learns to live like this, when he truly understands this principle, something incredible happens. The same people who once ignored him start to seek him out. But by that point, it's already too late for them. Cut the leash. Stop chasing after those who don't want you. And you'll see how, when they no longer have you within reach, they suddenly start to notice you. But by then, you won't care. 2. Master your mind, or you'll be someone else's toy. If you don't control your mind, someone else will do it for you. And if you think I'm exaggerating, look around you. Most people live trapped in an endless loop of uncontrolled emotions, reacting like puppets to every word, every gesture, every situation that arises in their lives. They are prisoners of their own minds and they don't even know it. Have you ever felt manipulated? Maybe someone played with your emotions, made you feel important one day and ignored you the next. Maybe you once thought you were in control, but suddenly you found yourself waiting for a call, checking your phone every 5 minutes, analyzing every message as if your existence depended on it. And the worst part is that even though you knew you were losing, you couldn't stop. That's the price of not mastering your mind. You become someone else's toy. The Stoics understood that true freedom is not won with money, power, or recognition. True freedom is one in the mind. Epictetus said that it is not things that affect us, but our interpretation of them. It's not rejection that hurts, it's what you believe it means. It's not someone's indifference that makes you suffer, it's the story you tell yourself about why they ignore you. If you allow every look, every word, and every action of others to control your emotions, you will never be the master of your life. You will always be at the mercy of others' moods, always reacting instead of deciding, always trapped in a cycle where someone else has control, and you just follow their game. The key is in mental discipline. If you can control what you think, you can control how you feel. And if you can control how you feel, no one will ever be able to manipulate you. Think of someone you admire, someone who projects strength and respect. Do you think that person loses control over a late response, a criticism, or someone else's contempt? No, because they understand that their worth does not depend on the opinion of others, because they have trained their mind to stand firm no matter the storm. So ask yourself, how much power are you giving others over your life? How many times have you let a simple word ruin your day? How many times have you allowed someone else's indifference to make you doubt your own worth? If you don't like the answer, then it's time to change. From today, nothing and no one will have the power to control your mental state. When someone tries to manipulate you with silence, ignorance, or contempt, you will not react. When someone tries to make you feel less, you will not give them the pleasure of seeing it. Because the real power is not in who manipulates, but in who cannot be manipulated. 3. Be an enigma. The predictable is disposable. If people can read you like an open book, you're in danger. Being predictable is the same as being disposable. The moment someone deciphers how you think, how you react, and what you need, they have control over you. And when someone has control over you, they can use you, manipulate you, or simply get bored and leave you behind. Have you ever wondered why certain people generate intrigue effortlessly? Why do some always seem in control, while others are seen as mere pawns on someone else's board? The difference lies in unpredictability. The Stoics knew that control of information is power. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, understood that he could not reveal too much about his thinking and emotions, because the moment you show all your cards, you lose the advantage. The problem with being transparent is that people stop valuing you. If everyone knows what you think, how you feel, and what you will do next, you are no longer interesting. And what is not interesting is replaceable. Therefore, if you want respect, if you want real attention, and not just tolerance, start moving in silence. Don't explain too much. Don't react as they expect. Don't put your thoughts on a silver platter for anyone to decode. When someone asks you about your plans, give them the bare minimum. When someone wants to know how you feel, let them imagine it. When they expect you to react with anger, stay calm. When they think they have you figured out, do something that makes them doubt. People value what they can't fully understand. When you're not easy to read, you become intriguing. When you're not easy to predict, you become valuable. And most importantly, when people don't know what you think or what you will do, they can never use it against you. Look around you. The most attractive people, the most respected, and the hardest to forget are not those who expose themselves completely. They are the ones who leave questions in the air. They are the ones who generate mystery, who do not reveal everything at first, who force others to strive to understand them. If you want to stop being seen as someone dispensable, stop being obvious. From today, train your silence. Say less than you think, control what you show, and observe more than you speak. Because in a world where everyone strives to be seen, the real power lies in being an enigma. 4. Let silence speak for you louder than any word. Talking is cheap. Anyone can say whatever they want, whenever they want. But the real power is not in what you say, but in what you choose to keep silent. Look at how most people act. They rush to respond to every attack. They feel the need to explain every decision. They react impulsively to the slightest provocation. And what do they gain from this? Nothing. They only show that they are easy to read, easy to manipulate, easy to control. When you talk too much, you give away information, reveal weaknesses, and give others tools to use against you. When you justify yourself, you put yourself in a position of guilt. When you respond with anger, you show that you were affected. When you feel the need to be understood, you become vulnerable. But when you master silence, the rules change. If someone ignores you, you ignore even harder. If someone provokes you, you don't react. If someone wants to know what you're thinking, you let them imagine it. Because the one who controls silence controls the situation. Silence generates respect because it confuses. People don't know what you're thinking. They can't predict you. They don't know if they won or lost. It makes them doubt, and doubt is a powerful weapon. And it's not just about keeping quiet. It's about knowing when to speak and when not to. If every word you say is measured, if every response is calculated, you become someone who cannot be manipulated. Look at any situation where someone loses control. It always starts the same: a misplaced word, an impulsive reaction, a response said in the heat of the moment, and then regret. Because words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. The one who masters their tongue masters their destiny. Do not confuse silence with weakness. Silence is not surrender, it's strategy. When someone throws a provocation at you and gets no response, they become desperate. When someone expects to see you react and only receives indifference, they start to lose control. Because most people depend on the reactions of others to feel powerful. And when you don't give them what they're looking for, they're left unarmed. Silence not only protects you, it also strengthens you. Every time you choose to be silent instead of reacting, you train your self-control. Every time you choose to ignore instead of arguing, you increase your power. Every time you decide not to give explanations, you reinforce your mystery. The problem is that most people can't stand the emptiness of silence. They feel uncomfortable, insecure, anxious. They need to fill the space with words because they fear what the other person might be thinking. But that's the key. When you learn to endure silence, you become unbreakable. Observe those who really have control in any situation. They are never the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who know when to be silent, when to pause, when to let the other person wear themselves out while they just watch. From today, change your approach. Before responding, ask yourself, is this necessary or just an impulse? Before giving explanations, ask yourself, does this change anything, or is it just to make me feel better in the moment? Before letting someone provoke you, ask yourself, what does this person gain if I react? 5. Sculpt a physique that commands respect without needing to speak. We live in a world where people judge before they listen. Before you open your mouth, your appearance has already sent a message. And if that message is one of weakness, no one is going to take you seriously. You may have the strongest mind, the best strategy, and the most solid character, but if you don't physically project presence, many won't even give you the chance to prove it. The reality is that simple and brutal. It's not about fitting into a beauty standard or chasing a superficial image. It's about building a physical presence that reflects who you are internally. If you are disciplined, strong, and mentally solid, your body should show it. If you are someone with self-control, your physique should be proof of it. Because respect is not asked for, it's commanded. Look around you. Most people look fragile, tired, neglected. Not because they don't have time, but because they lack character. They eat poorly, don't exercise, let their bodies deteriorate, and then wonder why no one takes them seriously. But the world operates with clear rules. The image you project determines how you will be treated. You don't need to be huge or chiseled like a Greek statue, but you do need to convey strength. A well-worked body commands respect without needing to open your mouth. Walking with a firm posture, occupying space naturally, having a presence that makes people perceive you as someone hard to ignore. It's no coincidence that leaders, warriors, and figures who have dominated history have taken care of their physique, because they knew that mental strength without physical strength is just theory. A man or a woman who looks strong not only inspires respect, but also deters those who seek to take advantage of the weak. And it's not just about how others see you, but how you see yourself. When you train, when you push yourself, when you see progress in the mirror, your confidence changes. You know you've built yourself with discipline. You know you can endure pain. You know that every muscle you've gained is the product of your effort. And that is reflected in how you walk, how you talk, how you present yourself to the world. Think of someone who walks into a room and immediately commands respect. They haven't said a single word, but their presence has already made it clear that they are not someone to be trifled with. That's what you should aim for. If you've neglected your physique so far, it's time to make a change. You don't need a fancy gym or 4-hour workouts every day. You need consistency, discipline, and the will to sculpt a body that projects exactly who you are. Because in a world where appearance opens or closes doors, your physique should speak for you before you do. 6. Make your mind steel, immune to manipulation. The world is full of people who want to control you. Some will do it openly, others subtly. They will use words disguised as concern. They will make comments designed to make you doubt yourself. They will play with your ego so that you act as they want. If you don't have a steel mind, you'll fall into their game. Manipulation always starts the same way. They make you feel special. They give you validation. They make you believe that you are important to them. They praise you. They show you attention. They make you feel that you are different. And when they already have you in their hands, they begin to slowly control your emotions. If you react well, they reward you. If you don't do what they want, they punish you with indifference. This is how you become a puppet without realizing it. They train you to seek their approval without you noticing. And the worst part is that, when they are done with you, they simply discard you and look for the next victim. And here's the problem. Most people don't even realize they're being manipulated. They follow the game without questioning it. When someone ignores them, they panic and do whatever it takes to regain their attention. When someone makes them feel insecure, they change their behavior just to be accepted. They become slaves to the emotions that others implant in them. But that only works with people who haven't trained their mind. If you have control over yourself, no one can play with you. When you don't need the validation of others, their manipulation has no effect. When you don't depend on anyone's attention, they can't use you as a toy. When you don't react to their provocations, they lose all power over you. And that's the key. People who manipulate depend on your reactions. They need you to feel bad when they ignore you. They need you to feel guilty when they make you doubt. They need you to depend on their approval to continue having control over you. But what happens when you take away that power? When their mind games no longer affect you? When their provocations no longer matter to you? When their indifference doesn't bother you? Then they lose. So, if you want to be unbreakable, you have to stop reacting as they expect. When someone tries to manipulate you with silence, ignore them. When someone tries to make you feel guilty, don't give them the satisfaction. When someone wants you to act impulsively, stay cool. Don't rush to respond. Don't despair to regain someone's attention. Don't fall into the game of someone who wants to make you feel less. Because the moment you react, you give them power over you. If you can't control your mind, others will do it for you. They will drag you into their game without you realizing it. And in the end, when you are no longer useful to them, they will leave you empty, confused, wondering at what point you lost control. Therefore, the only solution is to be completely immune. If someone plays with your ego, don't give them the pleasure of seeing that it affects you. If someone tries to make you feel less, make their opinion irrelevant to you. If someone wants you to make decisions impulsively, take your time and decide coolly. It's not about being indifferent to the world, it's about being the master of your mind, that no one can decide how you feel, that no one has the power to make you doubt yourself, that no one can take you out of your center. 7. Build a kingdom where you don't need anyone to prosper. If your well-being depends on someone else, you are not free. If you need validation, support, or the company of others to feel complete, you are in danger. Because the moment those people leave or decide to take away what they gave you, you will be left empty-handed. And the worst part is that no one will be to blame but you. People who truly have control over their lives are not at the mercy of anyone. They do not depend on a partner to feel loved, nor on friends to feel accepted, nor on bosses to have money. They have built a kingdom where they can support themselves, and that gives them a power that few have. The problem is that most people live the opposite way. They deposit their emotional stability in others. They feel good when someone loves them, but they sink when they are rejected. They feel safe when they have support, but they crumble when they are alone. They put their destiny in the hands of others and then wonder why they feel so fragile. The reason is simple. They never bothered to build something of their own. They never learned to depend on themselves. There was always someone else holding them up. And when that person disappears, reality hits them like a concrete wall, because they were never self-sufficient. If you really want to shield yourself, stop waiting for someone to come and save you and start building your own kingdom. A kingdom where you don't need anyone to be okay, where your success doesn't depend on the approval of others, where your happiness can't be snatched away by the absence of someone else. And it's not about being alone or disconnecting from the world. It's about having options. It's about that if someone decides to leave, you remain standing. That if one plan fails, you have others. That if the world turns its back on you, you have the ability to keep moving forward without fear. Look at any relationship where one person has all the power over the other. There is always a dependency involved. Someone depends emotionally, economically, or psychologically on the other. And the one with less power is always the one who suffers the most. If you don't want to be in that position, start working on what really matters. Build skills, generate your own income, strengthen your mind, learn to be okay alone. Because the moment you don't depend on anyone, you will be untouchable. No one will be able to play with you. No one will be able to use you. No one will be able to knock you down. If until now you have lived depending on others to feel complete, stop. Ask yourself, if today I lost everything I have, would I still stand or would I crumble? If the answer doesn't please you, it's time to start building. 8. Don't explain. Don't boast. Let your evolution speak for itself. People who truly have worth don't waste time explaining who they are. They don't need to say what they do, how much they've grown, or what they've achieved. Their presence already makes it clear. But most people do the opposite. They feel the need to justify their decisions, to boast about their progress, to seek recognition for every small achievement. They believe that if they don't say it, nobody will notice. And that's their mistake. When you talk too much about what you do, you stop being interesting. When you justify every step you take, you put yourself in a position of inferiority. When you boast instead of admiration, you generate rejection. Real respect is not earned with words, it is imposed with actions. If you're improving, people will see it. If you're evolving, the results will speak for you. You don't have to explain it, and much less prove it to those who don't see it. Most people don't want you to grow. They are uncomfortable seeing someone progress while they remain in the same place. That's why they question you, try to make you doubt, seek to minimize what you achieve. And the moment you fall into the trap of justifying yourself, you've already lost. Look at anyone who has achieved something big. They're not begging for recognition. They're not explaining why they deserve respect. They simply move forward, and others have no choice but to accept it. The need to explain comes from insecurity. If you truly trust what you're doing, if you really know that you're growing, then there's no need to say it. The results will be the only proof you need. Want others to recognize your progress? Don't say it. Make them notice. Want to show that you've changed? Don't explain it. Let your attitude make it clear. Want respect? Don't ask for it. Impose it with your way of acting. Words can lie, but results don't. You can talk about how strong you are, or you can simply be strong. You can say how disciplined you are, or you can demonstrate it with every action. You can boast about your mindset, or you can make it noticeable in the way you face life. And the difference is huge. The one who talks a lot about what they do is usually seeking validation. The one who simply does it is focused on what really matters. Don't waste time explaining your evolution to those who don't want to see it. Whoever wants to minimize you will do so regardless of how much you explain. Whoever wants to respect you will do so without you having to say a word. The next time someone questions you, don't respond. The next time someone minimizes your progress, smile and keep moving forward. The next time you feel the need to prove something, remember this: those who really matter don't need proof, and those who need proof don't matter. 9. Strategically disappear and make your absence weigh more than your presence. Most people are too available. They always respond quickly. They're always there when needed. They're always seeking attention. And what is too accessible loses value. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want your presence to really matter, you need to learn to disappear at the right time. It's not about isolating yourself from the world or playing hard to get without reason. It's about understanding that well-used absence generates respect, arouses interest, and forces others to notice your importance. When you're always present, when you're always explaining, when you're always an easy option, people take you for granted. But when you strategically disappear, when you make yourself scarce, when you let others feel your absence, that's when they really start to value you. Look at how it works in real life. Someone ignores your message and you're desperate for a response. Someone pulls away and you run after them. Someone gives you less than you deserve, and instead of withdrawing, you stay hoping they'll change. That behavior screams desperation, and desperation is the opposite of power. Instead, when you're the one who disappears, when you're the one who cuts the leash and goes your own way without explanation, you leave a void that others can't ignore. Well-used absence is a powerful tool. It's the difference between being seen as replaceable or as someone hard to forget. People get used to what's always present, but when something disappears, that's when they really realize its importance. That's how human psychology works. If you've been too accessible, start regulating your presence. Don't respond immediately. Don't be available all the time. Don't explain why you're pulling away. Just do it. And watch how, when they no longer have you at their fingertips, they suddenly start to notice you. But here's the key. When you come back stronger. Don't disappear just for the sake of disappearing. Use that time to grow, to improve, to make the next time someone sees you, they notice the difference. Because absence without evolution is useless.
Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.